Welcome, colleagues. Let's jump right into this explainer and unpack a highly effective strategy we've uncovered to counter a pretty massive problem growing in our lecture halls right now. If you've been teaching recently, you already know the landscape of higher education is shifting incredibly fast. So today, we're going to look at a powerful pedagogical tool that can literally revitalize our syllabi and protect the integrity of our courses. It's called authentic assessment. Let's start with a shared frustration. How are you actually verifying original knowledge in your classrooms today? Think about the essays, the lab reports, or the project summaries you graded just last week. As educators, we are facing this collective anxiety, right? We need to know whether our learners are truly mastering the material or just relying on artificially produced information. We want to evaluate our students' minds, not a large language model's predictive text capabilities. Let's be honest, we've probably all graded at least one paper this semester that suspiciously started with the phrase, "as an AI language model." Traditional assessments are kind of leaving the door wide open for those automated shortcuts.
Section 1. What is authentic assessment? The solution to our AI dilemma might just lie in rethinking our pedagogical approach entirely.
So, what does this actually mean for us? The absolutely crucial point here is that we have to break away from generic prompts. We need to ground our evaluations in the real world. By definition, authentic assessment is a type of alternative assessment that focuses entirely on being real and original. It firmly plants the task right within the authentic context of the learner. It's about pulling those theoretical concepts out of the textbook and forcing students to apply them to lived realities.
It's all about setting the context, specifically the context of the learner, the nation, and even the historical milieu. We aren't teaching our subjects in a vacuum, are we? Think about it, a sociology concept applied in a bustling modern metropolis. Well, that looks completely different than the exact same concept applied in a rural, historically agricultural community. By forcing students to navigate these incredibly specific, granular, and localized contexts, we're demanding completely original thought.
Moving on to Section 2, solving the AI problem. Let's see how this actually builds into a powerful defense for our universities.
There is a stark contrast we need to consider here. On one side, we have the overuse of artificially produced, AI-based information. It's usually broad, generic, and, flawlessly superficial. But on the other side, we have in-depth, context-specific answers. By demanding those context-specific answers, we instantly shift the focus from simple regurgitation to the original production of knowledge. AI is fantastic at summarizing general knowledge, sure, but it struggles deeply when asked to apply that knowledge to a hyperlocal, undocumented, or highly specific lived scenario that the student has to personally investigate.
Take engineering education, for example. I find this workaround absolutely brilliant. Instead of reciting textbook theories on structural load, authentic assessment challenges our learners to think about real problems based on the very local context of their state, region, or country. They have to identify a local infrastructure issue, maybe a specific deteriorating bridge in their hometown or a localized drainage problem, and then apply engineering solutions to solve that exact problem. An AI literally cannot just output a prepackaged answer for a hyperlocal community issue that requires current, on-the-ground observation. And because the learner has to navigate this real-world context, our assessment rubric fundamentally changes. It ends up evaluating the actual skills and knowledge they use to solve the problem, rather than just grading a synthesized final output. We start grading the process of their thinking. Did they correctly identify the local variables? Did they apply the right theoretical framework to this messy, real-world situation? This completely bypasses the vulnerability of our traditional grading schemas.
All right, Section 3, the alternative assessment wheel. Let's zoom out a bit to see where authentic assessment fits into the bigger educational ecosystem. A comprehensive framework from the Department of Higher Education Malaysia maps this out beautifully. Authentic assessment doesn't just exist in isolation. It sits right alongside other core elements like personalized, contemporary, real-time, integrated, and challenge-based. These elements act as the engine. Then, that branches out into different mediums: written, performance-based, presentation, or observation. And finally, that gives us the specific formats: vlogs, debates, case studies, policy reports, role plays, you name it. It just shows that an authentic assessment isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It could be a real-time debate on a contemporary local issue, or maybe a personalized vlog documenting a challenge-based project. The combinations are endless, and all of them push the student miles beyond what a simple text prompt can generate.
Which brings us to Section 4, creating your authentic assessment. So how do we equip ourselves to actually build these out for our own syllabi?
Here is your actionable educator's toolkit 4 exact steps to build your own authentic assessment from scratch. Step 1. Identify your learning aim. Step 2. Identify the specific learning outcome. Step 3. Identify the learning skill. Are you asking them to understand, analyze, synthesize, or create? And finally, Step 4. The magic ingredient. Identify the learner's context. How can you tie those aims, outcomes, and skills directly to the student's nation, their historical milieu, or their local community? Once you layer Step 4 onto the first 3, you've essentially created an assessment that is virtually impossible to fake.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you, my fellow educators, with a provocative thought. Look at your syllabus for next semester and ask yourself, are our current rubrics measuring what our students can actually do in the real world, or just what they can compile? Take this question to your next department meeting. Challenging ourselves to build authentic, context-rich assessments isn't just about outsmarting AI, it's about returning to the very core of what meaningful education should be.